I knew something was wrong the second I put my key in the lock. Not because of noise or silence, because my hand was shaking, and that hadn't happened in 3 years. Not since I got Argus. The flight from Austin had been brutal. Red-eye, 2 delays, and my cortisol was already spiking from the summit presentations I'd given. But I kept telling myself the same thing I always told myself. 4 more hours, then Argus will hit my palm with his nose, and my system will level out. I turned the key. The door swung open, and a tiny ball of golden fur came skidding across the hardwood floor, yapping like a squeaky toy having a seizure. I froze. The puppy, maybe 10 weeks old, floppy ears, pee puddle on the entryway rug. It jumped at my shins with zero coordination, mouth open, claws scratching at my pants. What the hell? My wife Sarah appeared from the kitchen, wine glass in hand, smiling. You're home early. I stared at the puppy, then at her, then at the empty space behind her where Argus should have been. Always. For 247 days straight. His harness hanging by the door, his bed in the corner of the living room, the medical alert bell on his collar. All of it. Gone. Where's Argus? Sarah took a sip of wine. We need to talk about that. My chest went cold. Not the good cold. The cold that comes right before your blood pressure drops and your vision tunnels and you wake up on the floor with no memory of falling. I leaned against the doorframe. Sarah, where is my dog? She set down her glass, walked over, put a hand on my arm like she was about to deliver bad news about a plant dying. I surrendered him to a rescue in Springfield. He was just too much, David. The shedding, the size. He took up our whole life. The puppy yapped again. I couldn't breathe. You surrendered him. My voice didn't sound like mine. My service dog. My medical alert service dog. You surrendered him while I was 200 miles away. He was getting in the way of what? I never yelled at Sarah. Not in 8 years of marriage. But I yelled then. The puppy ran and hid behind the couch. Sarah's face hardened. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're so dependent on that animal you can't even have a conversation without... Dependent. I laughed. It came out hollow. Broken. Sarah, he detects my cortisol drops 45 minutes before they happen. He alerts to my heart rate variability. He wakes me up when my blood sugar crashes at 3 a.m. He's not a pet. He's medical equipment. He's my medical equipment. She crossed her arms. The puppy can learn. The puppy is 10 weeks old. I was shaking now. Really shaking. It takes 18 to 24 months to train a service dog, minimum. And that's with professional handlers. Do you know how much Argus cost? Do you know how many hours I spent? I found a breeder online who said, I don't care what some breeder said. I walked past her, through the living room, checked the closet, the garage, the backyard, everywhere. Like Argus might be hiding, like this was some sick joke. He wasn't hiding. I found his harness stuffed in a garbage bag in the mudroom, his collar with the medical ID tags, his alert bell, all of it thrown in with old newspapers and empty takeout containers. I pulled the harness out, held it to my chest. The leather still had his smell. Sarah appeared in the doorway. You're overreacting, it's just a dog. Just a dog. I turned around. I spent USD 25,000 on his training, 2 years on a wait list. Another 14 months of task-specific reinforcement. He's prevented 37 medical emergencies since I brought him home. 37 times I would have hit the floor in public or crashed my car or choked on my own tongue. And you threw him away because he shed. He shed on the new sofa. The new sofa. I nodded slowly. Right. The sofa you bought without asking me. The one I told you I was allergic to the fabric treatment on. That sofa. This isn't about the sofa. No, it's about you deciding that my medical needs are negotiable, that my safety is a style choice. I pulled out my phone, started dialing. What are you doing? Calling the rescue, getting my dog back. You can't just... Watch me. The first rescue didn't have him. Neither did the second. I called 7 shelters before I found the right one. A woman named Denise answered. When I gave her Argus's microchip number, she went quiet. He came in 3 days ago, she said. The surrender form was signed by a Sarah Masterson. Listed owner surrender, no medical notes. He's a service animal. He has medical tasks. It should be on his file. Denise hesitated. Sir, the form we received marked him as a family pet. No special training noted. I closed my eyes. Sarah had lied. On paper, she'd surrendered my medical equipment as a pet, which meant no legal protection, no hold period for working dogs, no requirement to contact me. Where is he now? He was adopted yesterday morning, a family with 3 kids. My stomach dropped. You have to get him back. He's not a pet. He's a medical alert service dog. He could bite a kid if they pull his ears the wrong way. He's trained to respond to seizures, not to toddlers grabbing his face. Denise's voice got tight. Sir, the adoption is final. I can give you the family's contact information if they agree, but I can't force them to return him. Give me their number. I can't do that without their permission. But I can call them, explain the situation. Do it. Please. My life depends on this dog. I gave her my number, told her to call me back within the hour. Then I hung up and walked back inside. Sarah was on the couch. The puppy was in her lap. She was scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. Well, they adopted him out. She didn't look up. I'm sorry you're upset, but honestly, David, this might be good for you. Learning to function without a crutch. The puppy will be great once you bond with it. I sat down across from her. My hands were still shaking. My chest felt like someone was sitting on it. Sarah, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer honestly. She looked up. Did you do this to hurt me, or did you just not care if I got hurt? Her mouth opened, closed. For a second, I saw something flicker across her face. Guilt, or maybe just annoyance that I wasn't playing along. I did it for us, she said. The dog was ruining our intimacy. You paid more attention to him than to me. Our friends stopped coming over because he was always underfoot. I want my husband back. I'm not your husband without Argus. I'm a liability. I'm a fall risk. I'm a lawsuit waiting to happen at my own job. You're being dramatic. Last year, Argus alerted 8 minutes before I passed out in a boardroom. 8 minutes. That's how long he gave me to sit down and take my meds. Without him, I would have cracked my skull on a marble conference table in front of 40 people. Sarah stood up. The puppy tumbled off her lap. So get a new dog. It took me 3 years to get Argus. 3 years of paperwork and evaluations and waiting lists. And that was before the agency changed their protocols. Now it's 4 years minimum, USD 40,000, and I have to travel to Texas for the training blocks. Then you'll have to figure something else out. I stared at her. 8 years. 8 years of marriage. And she was standing there, wine glass in hand, telling me to figure it out. Where's my medication bag? In the bedroom. Where in the bedroom? She shrugged. I moved some stuff around while you were gone, cleaned out the closet. I walked to the bedroom, opened the closet. My medication bag was on the top shelf, behind a box of winter coats. I'm 5'7". On a good day, with stable blood pressure, I can reach the second shelf. The top shelf might as well have been on the moon. I stood there for a full minute, staring at the shelf, at my bag, at the box of coats blocking it. Then I sat down on the edge of the bed, put my head in my hands. Argus would have grabbed the bag for me. He knew the command med kit. He'd bring it to my lap, unzip the main compartment with his teeth, and wait while I took my pills. The puppy was still yapping in the living room. I picked up my phone, called my lawyer. Marcus, I need a consult. How fast can you file for separation of assets and medical power of attorney revocation? Marcus coughed. David, it's 10 p.m. My wife surrendered my service dog while I was out of state. She signed papers claiming he was a pet. He's been adopted out to a family I can't locate. And I'm currently stranded in my own bedroom without my medication because she put it on a shelf I can't reach. Silence. Then Marcus said, Don't move. I'm coming over, and bring my paralegal. We're filing tonight. I hung up. Walked back to the living room. Sarah was still on the couch, still on her phone. The puppy was chewing on a throw pillow. I'm filing for separation, I said. She looked up. What? Legal separation. Tonight, I'm going to a hotel, and then I'm calling my medical team in the morning to figure out how I survive the next 48 hours without a service animal. You're leaving me? Over a dog? Over my life, Sarah. You put my life at risk. Deliberately. While I was working, you took my medical equipment, threw it in a shelter, and replaced it with a pet. That's not a mistake. That's not a disagreement. That's sabotage. She stood up. The wine glass wobbled in her hand. I did what I thought was best for this family. No. You did what was easiest for you. And now you don't have a family to worry about. I grabbed my car keys, my wallet, my phone. The puppy followed me to the door, wagging its tail, completely innocent, completely useless. I looked back at Sarah one more time. Don't call me. My lawyer will be in touch about getting the rest of my things. I walked out. The door closed behind me. And for the first time in 3 years, I was completely alone with a body that couldn't be trusted to keep me conscious. The hotel room cost USD $340 a night. I didn't care. I just needed 4 walls and a floor I could reach my medication from. I laid everything out on the nightstand. Pills sorted, glucose tablets, emergency injector, my blood pressure cuff. Then I called Denise again. No answer. Left a message. Then I called every vet within 50 miles of the rescue. Asked if they'd seen a 4-year-old German Shepherd with a microchip ending in 7291. Nothing. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Denise. The family agreed to talk to you. They're coming in tomorrow morning at 9. Can you be here? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. They're not promising anything, but they want to hear your side. I'll be there. I hung up, stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, I might get Argus back, or I might have to explain to a family of strangers why their new dog could save my life. And Sarah. I pulled up my bank account, checked the joint account. She'd already transferred USD $12,000 to a separate savings account. Yesterday, while I was on the plane, she knew I'd find out. She knew I'd leave. This wasn't a spontaneous decision. She'd planned it. I thought about the last few months. The comments about Argus being too much. The way she'd started leaving his medical gear in the garage instead of by the door. The jokes about how nice it would be to have a small dog. A cute dog. I'd ignored it all. Told myself she was just adjusting. That she'd come around. She hadn't come around. She'd waited until I was gone. And then she'd erased him. I set an alarm for 6 a.m., laid down, and tried not to think about how fast my heart was beating without a cold nose to tell me it was time to breathe. The family's name was Henderson. Mom, Dad, 3 kids between 6 and 12. They showed up at the rescue with Argus on a new leash, blue, not his red working harness. He looked confused, alert, scanning the room like he was trying to figure out why none of the sounds meant anything. Then he saw me, and he lost it, in the best way. He lunged toward me, tail going crazy, whining, pushing his head into my hands, checking my pulse with his nose like he always did. Like I'd just come home from work instead of 4 days of hell. I dropped to my knees, wrapped my arms around him, pressed my face into his fur. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know she would. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. So, this is your dog? I stood up, wiped my face. Yes, he's my service animal. I have paperwork, medical certification, training records, everything. Mrs. Henderson looked at Argus, then at me. The shelter said he was a family pet. They said the previous owners just didn't have time for him anymore. They lied. I pulled out my phone, showed them photos. Argus in his harness. Argus doing medical alerts. The letter from my neurologist. The training certificate from the agency. He's not a pet. He's a working dog. He's saved my life more times than I can count. The youngest kid, maybe 6 years old, tugged on her mom's sleeve. I want to keep him. Mrs. Henderson knelt down. Honey, this man needs this dog to stay healthy, like how Uncle Mark needs his wheelchair. But he's nice. He is nice, but he has a job to do. The kid's face crumpled, and I felt like absolute garbage. but not garbage enough to give up Argus. Mr. Henderson looked at his wife, then at me. We paid USD 350 for him, adoption fee, plus we bought a bed and food and toys. I'll reimburse you, USD 500, cash, right now. He thought about it. USD 600. Done. I pulled out my wallet, counted out $600 bills, handed them over. Mrs. Henderson took the leash off Argus's collar, handed it to me. He's a good dog, she said. We could tell. He kept trying to check on the kids, like he was making sure they were okay. That's what he does. He monitors everyone in his pack. It's part of his training. The little girl was crying now, quietly, into her mom's shoulder. I hated everything about this. Thank you, I said. I'm sorry, I really am, but I can't live without him. Mr. Henderson nodded. Take care of yourself. Then they left, and I put Argus's leash in my hand, felt his nose hit my palm, felt my heart finally slow down to something that felt like normal. Let's go home, buddy. But I didn't mean the house with Sarah. I meant somewhere new, somewhere safe, somewhere my medical needs weren't a negotiation. The divorce was finalized 11 months later. Sarah tried to fight it, claimed I was being unreasonable, that she'd just made a mistake, that the court would see I was overly dependent on an animal. My lawyer played the recording of her admitting she'd surrendered Argus intentionally. My medical records showing 3 hospitalizations in the 2 weeks after I left because my system couldn't regulate without him. The testimony from the rescue about the false surrender paperwork. The judge gave me everything. The house, the car, full medical autonomy, and a restraining order that kept Sarah 500 feet away from me and my service animal. I sold the house anyway. Too many memories of her standing in the doorway with that wine glass. Bought a smaller place, a yard for Argus, a bedroom with low shelves I could reach from the floor. The puppy? She took it. I didn't ask what happened to it, couldn't afford to care. Some nights, I still wake up at 3 a.m., heart pounding, convinced I'm back in that hotel room. Alone, waiting for a phone to ring. But then Argus shifts against my legs, pushes his nose into my hand. And I remember that I'm not alone, that someone in this world chose me, actually chose me. Not for convenience or comfort or aesthetics, for survival. And that's more than Sarah ever did. I don't hate her. Hate takes energy I don't have. But I also don't forgive her. Some betrayals don't get forgiven, they just get outlived. And thanks to Argus, I'm doing a lot of that lately. Outliving.